This morning's session will actually be the first of what the Honourable Prime Minister hopes will become an annual pre-budget breakfast. A chance for us to come together informally ahead of the formal budget process. As you may or may not know, members of the Assembly have already received the full budget papers ahead of tomorrow's first reading. So this morning isn't about going through the details of the budget. It's really taking a step back and providing a clear snapshot or a more user-friendly look at the key messages and what it means in the bigger picture. It's also a chance to hear directly from the Prime Minister to share his perspective on where we are as a country and where we're heading.
Ka tau se anga nei whakamata patu ai. Be la tai mo tau tu whanu manga ko tau hukui he tau tangata he tau manga rita. Ke he mai mo mata patu ka tau se ia pongi. Na ia ne whakakua tu pihia. I tau se anga nei. Na kai ni ko lautore tau tu whanu manga kai pihia ke lautore tau tangata pisinisi pihia foki mo lautore tau tangata tuhitara. Ke mai launga e lautoru, e kusianga, e whaisianga tupe he motu nei. Tau ngā hua o mai do tau I tua, mo e tau ngā hua he o tuki mua. As I just mentioned before, this is probably the first, but like everything else, we're still development. So this is part of the development, but more so in a matter of transparent and being accountable to the people. And I thought it's a great start before we take it to the members of the House, that they can debate it in the House of why they have been elected to be in there. So, thank you for being here this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, this annual budget breakfast is an opportunity to present a short summary of the government's fiscal strategy and economic snapshot of where we are today from past years. The Trust Fund and the key priorities of the 26-27 budget and its initiatives. As we forged ahead in an increasingly uncertain and volatile global environment, where ongoing conflicts continue to disrupt oil supply, and we must remain resilient. We have moved from the period of crisis into one of fertility. In this environment, it is critical that we establish strong foundations, grounded in a firm commitment to prudent financial management and fiscal sustainability, and where necessary, austerity measures. At the same time, we must continue to invest in development and embrace innovative ideas to secure the future well-being of the people of Niue. As we continue to recover from the impacts of COVID-19 pandemic, we are now confronted with another challenge, the global fuel crisis. And these external shocks, combined with our small population base, pose a significant risks to our economic stability. And we must therefore exercise discipline in both expenditure and revenue collection to maintain a sound fiscal position without resorting to debt financing. Our fiscal strategy, in short, our fiscal strategy is guided by the clear principle to live within our means while protecting the financial independence of future generations. That is the key. Our budgets must reflect a careful balance between realism and ambition. We will align expenditure with the resources available to us, while maintaining a strong focus on priority sectors that directly impact our people, which we all know, it will always be. The Home Affairs, where sits the Village Council, our pensioners, our disability, those in the need most. And I'm happy to also announce that The old-known community affairs now became home affairs. And we have allocated funding to these key areas of the country, which I'll elaborate a little bit more later. And of course, the health systems, there needs to be the ongoing support. Education, the infrastructure and asset maintenance. It's probably one of the biggest expenditure to this country. It's maintaining our key resources that develops this country, and I'm talking about machineries, tools, and of course the aging infrastructure, and of course climate resilience. And the key priorities and reforms, the public service reform remains essential. We will strengthen the quality of governance, continue to improve financial management systems, and enhance the delivery of services to business and the public. Managing the rising pressures, we must face the reality of rising costs, aging infrastructure, and increasing demand for government services. As part of this, the government will review existing subsidies and carefully consider cost recovery measures where is appropriate. Responsible decision-making. There will be difficult decisions ahead. These decisions will not always be welcomed by everyone, but they are necessary to secure the long-term future of this place. And let me end my short statement to say that our responsibility is clear: to act in the best interest of the people and this country, both now and for future generations. And that can only be achieved through discipline, being resilient, and forward-thinking leadership. We will continue to strengthen our economy and safeguard the well-being of our people. Let me take us to some slides. As before you, the handouts, you can see where we've been, or where it stands right now. The Niue's economy. The Niue economy has come through one of the most disruptive periods in its recorded statistical history. In snapshot of the Niue economy stands as at last year, 2025, drawn from the most recent statistics released from the Niue Stats Office, together with the financial year 26-27 budget updates. They cover output, prices, trade, tourism, the external position, and the outlook, recording both what has been recovered and what now lies ahead. And that's where we stand, an economy that bent but didn't break. Niue's real GDP contracted 3 years running through 2021, with the deepest fall of 6.7% in the year of the closed border, and we all know why. The recovery has been substantial. The real growth of 7.9% in the financial year 2023 and 7% in 2024, before moderating to 2% last year, financial year of 2025. In current terms, the most reliable comparator with nominal budget figures, the GDP, has almost doubled since 2015 to reach $54.2 million, the highest ever on record. The real GDP growth rate year on year from 2008 to 2025. And how relates that to per capita or per person, which is also a record high of $33,568. You might ask where all this growth is coming from. The aid-funded production estimate introduced in April 2026 in national accounts that shows that aid-funded activity at $3.39 million in the financial year of 2025, about 7.7% of constant price, the GDP. The remaining $40.6 million in domestic activity. The post-2022 recovery has been driven mainly by domestic sectors and not by aid flows. Even though the offer thinks that way, grants, which I haven't checked, but I've got to remember also the grants from our partners that also helps, especially in New Zealand. Aid-funded production peaked at 10.4% of the GDP in financial year 2021, when domestic activities was the weakest. And as we move to the fourth slide, on the cost of living, on the inflation, as it stands, prices have moderated, but fuel is a pressure. The annual inflation eased to 2.8% in the year to March this year, 2026. And that has come down from a peak of 9% in the late 2023. The food prices rose to 3.6%. And the largest contributors, according to the offer or from the stats over the past year, were the chicken and spirits. And it looks like you've been eating a lot of chickens and you've been drinking a lot of spirits. And less on those leafy vegetables, but also the fuel have also added to the total. Fuel remains a key pressure point. From the 1st of June 2026, the pump prices stands at $4 a litre for petrol and $4.20 for diesel, reflecting elevated global prices. But we're still paying below average or below par than what we should be paying. And where the government will be seeking funds in order to pay for those support from the government. Let me look at our fiscal position and the outlook. A strong external position, a tighter year ahead. Our new external position is strong. Our current account recorded a provisional surplus of $10.6 million in 2025, supported by secondary income, and the net international investment position stood at $85.8 million. A net creditor position. The new international trust fund has grown to around $85 million, providing a long-term fiscal buffer. Development partners continue to support the country. New Zealand provided $5 million in supplementary budget support this year, April 2026, and has also confirmed asset maintenance funding, which I think we have received also, of $2.5 around $1 million. And Australia has confirmed further support to the trust fund, and I'd like to acknowledge our great partners. And for the next slide, as we talk about the visitors and tourism that arrives here, the total arrivals rose from 610 in 2021, but we all know why, to 12,418 visitors in 2024, within 7.6% of the 2019 peak of 13,440. Non-Niuean visitors now make up 76% of visitor arrivals, up from roughly half before COVID, and New Zealand alone accounts for 73.8%. Visitors' expenditure reached $9.96 million in 2024, with $3.97 million already recorded in the first half of last year. That's what I'm talking about today, as of last year. I wonder what it'd be if it's up to date to today. Travel services credits in the balance of payments reached a record $21.1 million for the financial year ended in 2025. And as for our long-term saving funds, the Niue Island Trust Fund, our great donor partners, New Zealand and Australia, generously continue to support the trust fund. And also, may I take this opportunity to acknowledge, it's not only the trust fund that they support, but the ongoing key national projects and services that they also fund. Our trust fund stands at around $85 million as of today, from $60 million in 2020. Ideally, as a leader, and my wish, we should be over the $100 million mark. And there's always good reasons for that. We need to grow our savings for the future and preserve fiscal independence and implement national development plans and invest in building a stronger and more resilient Niue. And as we move for trade, the imports surge with the rebuild. Imports reached $30.3 million in 2024, well above pre-COVID levels, as the rebuild continued, with New Zealand supplying around 77% of imports, and fuel the largest single category. Exports were $2.5 million. That's all we export. Almost entirely re-exported of the aviation fuel. I'm not sure what you're all thinking now, but that is very sad. So what is the true figure of what our real export is? Leaving a merchandise trade deficit of $27.7 million. A goods deficit of this kind is structural for an economy of Niue's size and is offset by the services and partners' transfers. On the most recent balance of payment measures, which runs to mid-2025, the goods cap had eased slightly to around $22 million as services, mainly tourism, moved into surplus. And as for this new financial year's budget, we have appropriated, and these are estimates, appropriated $83.4 million in expenditure against $65.8 million in expected revenue. And that is going to leave us with 17.6 in deficit. And I'm sure you can learn about the deficit in your handouts. The budget steadfast on key priorities such as education, health, home affairs from the recurrent budget. But they will also be supported in other means or other funding allocated by the government from development and investment, where our big projects such as the roads, the power, and the climate work, they are funded all under from our development partners also. Niue funds its services from its own revenue and steady partner support, and is building national savings for the years ahead. The budget's economic outlook expects growth to ease to 0.4% this year alone, 2026, and to contract modestly in 2027 and 2028 as the construction boom and the renewable energy build conclude. Completion of the renewable energy system soon is set to reduce the island's reliance on imported diesel and ease the major cost pressures over time. As we all know, as I come towards the end of my presentation, I think the key here, that this year, with those of you returning members, and those of you who know the budget last year, our expenditure expected last year was almost $70 million, the highest ever. And this year alone, it's $83 million. And most of you will say that the government is too ambitious. This is a raw budget. Has not even considered for any cuts by the finance minister. But this is the wish list, or the things that were heard from the ministries themselves alone, what they wanted to drive their ministries for the betterment of this country, but more so for its people. As I always mentioned before, that we have been left behind for a long time. Our national budget should be at least $100 million. But that is for us to work hard in order for our partners and our donors warrants that justification for extra support for us. Our capital expenditure has rose that normally used to be $100,000. For this year alone, we expected to spend $2,778,000. That's the allocation or the estimate appropriate for. We haven't got quite the money for those as yet, as per always, as from our partners. Investment and development sits as $4,283,000, and for our donor investment and developments that has been included in the budget, from last year was $8 million alone. For this budget, it's $19,617,000. So we can see from our donor partners the amount of money or projects that are expecting in future years to come here. This is a great support, a part of that continuation of the economic growth that we were talking about earlier on. For the government initiatives for this financial year is to finally establish an asset maintenance facility fund that will help address, hopefully, shortfalls that we have to wait for parts or funds in order to buy the parts to repair heavy machineries and other stuff that I talked earlier on. We don't have such reserves or such funds that are put aside especially for those. So this is the start that we hope that will establish such funding that will help address those. And of course, you all heard about the Niue National Super Fund. We haven't quite have the name yet, but this is the superannuation fund that's about to be started and about to be implemented once all the framework and the legislation has been passed, and hopefully before the end of the year. And of course, I touched on the Home Affairs before. It's got to be a better way to address that sector, especially the support from the government, as we all know. And I apologize to the village councils around the island, because the funds that was given to the VCs, there was a purpose for it, but it hasn't been followed according to the policies and the law for the village councils. However, saying that the government will establish a trust fund that hopefully will address some of these things and guide the village councils the best way forward. But I'm not going to tell you that now, because we're going to work on the framework and the policies, and that announcement will come from the minister itself when it's ready. But not only the village councils, also our disabilities, the pensions. And I'm happy to say then the pension, yes, it will be increased. And of course, the establishment of the Home Security and Intelligence Unit. As we know, the fast-growing illegal activities around the region, our borders must be protected. And of course, we will be having eroding reserves, and we'll continue to support our private sector as we journey together for the next financial year. As we all know also, the aging infrastructure that I was talking about before, that we're also looking at establishing a facility fund to cater for all government infrastructures that are aging, as we all know. So there's a lot of work for this year. Yes, the budget is ambitious because that's what we wanted to do. I reserved others to speak widely tomorrow in the House regarding the not so much about the deficit, but how the government will address all that, but also put a broader perspective of how you deal with a national budget and how you can achieve the things that you wanted to achieve. Use the tool, or use the stats, the data that are before us, the economic growth. That's what we're looking for, the continuation of that. If that happens, we'll continue the growth, and I know that we are on the right track to be prosperous. I thank you.